Hello friends, we are now in the second phase of the establishment of Turkish rule in India. We already know that the first phase, when the invasions happened, that was during the period of 10th and 11th century AD. So, the first phase of the Turkish invasions was during the 10th and 11th century, when we saw 17 raids by Mahmud Ghazni. The significant aspect of the first phase is that Mahmud Ghazni's invasions in India was able to open the gateway of future invasions and future migrations. The future migrations will happen in India in the 12th century AD. Second phase, 12th century. During this period of 1100 AD, there were several developments which were taking place in Central Asia. One of the significant developments which was occurring in Central Asia is the upheaval caused by internecine attacks and mutual warfare. During this warfare, the Ghaznavids and the Samanvids, they were overthrown by the Ghurs. So, the Ghazni kingdom, which was also the capital, had now passed on to the rulers and sultan who were called the Ghurids. The Ghurids had now taken over the power in their hands, the political power and the military power, and they were looking forward to expansion. What could be the territorial expansion for the Ghurids, for the new dynasty which has taken over the area in Central Asia? We remember that Ghazni had established, Mahmud Ghazni had established, but he was gone. Now, the new dynasty of the Ghurids, they wanted to expand, and they were not able to expand because of the Khwarizmi empires and because of the Iranians who had blocked their way to expand northwards. So, the only logical area left for expansion was India or Hindustan. As we know that during the first phase, Mahmud Ghazni has come to India, looted, plundered and gone back, but had not established any rule as such. Now, taking advantage of this new route or the new forays which were made by the Turks, the invaders, the Ghurids were now ready for the next wave of attacks which is going to happen in the second phase. In 1173, we find Muhammad Muizzuddin bin Sam, who was also known later on as Muhammad Ghori. He ascended the throne of the Ghurids. So, 1173, ascension of Muhammad Ghori on the throne of the Ghurid dynasty is a significant date to remember. Why it is significant in other way is that Muhammad Ghori was a great warrior and also a wise statesman in his own way. It is significant to understand that during this period, he had thought of conquering Delhi. He had made several attempts, and one of the major attempts that Muhammad Ghori will now make will be to come to the area, he will try to come to area of Punjab, which is not in his hands. Mahmud Ghazni had not left any general or any commander to take over and capture and govern Punjab. Therefore, it was the turn of Muhammad Ghori to take over the area of Punjab that is north of Delhi, but it was not easy. We find that during this period of 12th century AD, during which Muhammad Ghori had ascended the throne, in Ghazni, we find that the Rajputs had become powerful. And among the Rajputs, the most important clan which was having control of North India as far as part of Punjab and Dillika, which was known as Dillika and now known as Delhi, it was the Chauhan rulers. The Chauhan rulers of Rajputana were very ambitious and very powerful. On one side, we find Chauhans, their central ruler being Prithviraj Chauhan, and on the other side, we find Muhammad Ghori from the Turk side. The conflict between the two was inevitable. The immediate cause for conflict between them was the area known as Tabarhinda. Tabarhinda is the old name of the city of Punjab known as Bhatinda now. Tabarhinda, before it became the bone of contention, Muhammad Ghori had tried to come to North India and capture, but he was defeated by the Rajputs at Mount Abu, that is in 1175, and he could not come further and he could not make incursions into Indian territory, and he went back. After his defeat at 1175, Muhammad Ghori will make a new attempt and rethink and replan his entire strategy to come to Delhi. Let's see what his strategy. We know that he is not able to capture Punjab and he had no base. Therefore, in 1173 to 1175, there were conscious effort to siege the area known as Multan. So, the seizure of Multan is going to be the first attempt of Muhammad Ghori and the Turks to establish hold in North India. After the siege of Multan, the next level attack which he escalated will be to capture the area of Peshawar and Lahore. Peshawar and Lahore will fall into the hands of the Turks under the leadership of Muhammad Ghori, who will keep his eyes fixed on capture of powerful Delhi Empire. We find that in 1190, he is ready for his first major attack and first major conflict with the Rajput ruler, that is Prithviraj Chauhan. That battle is going to be the first major battle in which Muhammad Ghori will come with his horsemen, the famous Turkish horsemen, and will have a fight with Prithviraj Chauhan. That is known as the Battle of Tarain, the first battle of Tarain. The first battle of Tarain, we find the two armies, the Indian army on one side, that is Prithviraj Chauhan and the Rajput rulers, and Muhammad Ghori loggerheads, face to face. In this battle, the Turks lost the battle and they had to return back. It is interesting to understand that here the strategy of the Rajputs was not to oust them from Punjab, and that is going to prove to be a disaster in future. After the loss of Battle of Tarain, it would have been wiser for the Rajputs to have completely ousted the Turks from Punjab, that is from Peshawar, from Lahore and from Multan, but that did not happen. Therefore, in 1191-92, Muhammad Ghori, a wise ruler and a military strategist in his own right, will regroup his soldiers, will expand his army, and will come again to have the next deciding battle with the Rajputs. Therefore, Muhammad Ghori, strategizing, expanding his army, getting more cavalry, came back in 1191-92 to to challenge the Rajputs under the leadership of Prithviraj Chauhan, who was the ruler at Delhi and rest of the North India towards Rajputana, we find that Muhammad Ghori came with more than 1,70,000 soldiers with about 10,000 cavalrymen to capture the power that was in India and defeat the Rajputs. In the second battle of Tarain, was very crucial, and in this battle the Rajput lost. They did not have the support of one of the major rulers of North India, that is Raja Jayachanda. Raja Jayachanda of Kannauj decided to stay away from the Rajputs, leaving them alone to face the foreign invaders under Ghori. During this battle of Tarain, which was lost to the Turks and the invaders, we find that their ambition to capture rest of North India, the fertile area of Ganga, Jamuna, Doab, is going to be the next step. In 1194, we find the Battle of Chandavar. The Battle of Chandavar was fought between the Turks and Raja Jayachanda of Kannauj. Kannauj was one of the major empires and the major kingdom after the fall of Gurjara Pratiharas and was ruled by Raja Jayachanda and his family. However, in this battle of 1194, the local Indian rulers were badly routed and defeated by the Turks, who established their full control over the area of North India. Not only they established control, but the Turks appointed military governors in Bengal, Bakhtiar Kaki Khalji, in Bihar, and in Delhi. One of the major military commanders was Qutubuddin Aibak, who was now appointed by Muhammad Ghori, because he was his deputy, as the governor of Delhi. So, we find a new governor in Delhi after the fall of the Kannauj rulers and after the fall of the Rajputs. We find Qutubuddin Aibak, who was the slave of Muhammad Ghori, but also his very important deputy commander of the army, was appointed as the governor of Delhi. This appointment of Qutubuddin Aibak in 1205 is going to be historical, because we will find that the deputy of Muhammad Ghori will establish properly the firm rule of the Turks for the first time in Delhi and in North India.